Imagine this. You wake up, make your morning coffee, and while most people are rushing to work, you're calm because your investments are paying the bills. Your mortgage, your groceries, even vacations, all funded by dividend checks hitting your account month after month. That's the dream, right? But here's the big question. What's the fastest way to actually live off dividends, especially if your annual expenses are around $80,000? In this video, I'll break it down step by step, how much money you really need, the strategies to speed up the process, a realistic timeline, and the big mistakes that could cost you years of progress. Stick with me to the end, because I'll also show you how a few smart moves can literally cut a decade off your journey. First, let's get clear. Living off dividends means your investment income covers your lifestyle. You don't need to sell shares. You're not relying on the market going up every year. The dividends themselves fund your life. So if you spend $80,000 a year, then your portfolio needs to generate $80,000 in dividends every year. Here's the catch. The S&P 500, the most common index fund, only yields about 1.5% to 2%. That means you'd need $4 million invested to cover $80,000 in expenses from dividends alone. Now that sounds intimidating, but the truth is, there are faster, smarter strategies that can bring that number way down. Let's run the math for $80,000 a year. At a 2% yield, you need $4 million invested. At a 4% yield, you need $2 million. At a 6% yield, you only need $1.33 million. And here's where things get interesting. The higher the yield, the faster you can realistically get to that number. But higher yield can also mean higher risk. So the key is finding that sweet spot where you're not taking on too much risk, but still moving faster toward your freedom number. So what's the fastest path to $80,000 in dividend income? Here are three main strategies. Dividend growth investing. Think Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, companies that don't necessarily pay the highest yield, but increase their dividends every single year. This is like planting seeds that grow steadily over time. You start small, but 10 or 20 years later, those dividend raises can be massive. High-yield ETFs and REITs. If you want immediate income, you can look at high-yield options like real estate investment trusts or dividend ETFs that pay 4 to 6%. These get you closer to that $80,000 goal much faster. But remember, they're more sensitive to economic cycles. Hybrid strategy. This is what many successful dividend investors do. You hold reliable dividend growth stocks for safety and sprinkle in some high-yield investments to juice your cash flow. The blend gives you income now, while your base portfolio keeps growing for decades to come. Let's get practical. What does a dividend portfolio actually look like? Here's a simplified example. 40% dividend growth stocks like Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Johnson & Johnson. 30% REITs or high-yield ETFs like VNQ, SCHD, or Realty Income. 20% utilities or energy like Duke Energy or ExxonMobil. Stable cash flow companies. 10% cash or bonds for stability. This kind of mix could average around a 4% yield, which means you'd only need about $2 million invested for $80,000 a year. If you reinvest dividends early on, this kind of portfolio compounds like crazy, turning thousands into tens of thousands in annual income over time. Here's the real secret. The fastest way isn't just about what you invest in, but how aggressively you fund your portfolio. Ways to speed this up. Reinvest dividends early. Don't cash them out yet. Let them buy more shares. Slash unnecessary expenses. If you only need $70,000 a year instead of $80,000, you just lowered your freedom target by hundreds of thousands. Boost your income. Side hustles, promotions, or a small business can funnel thousands more per year into your portfolio. Use tax-advantaged accounts. In the U.S., IRAs and 401ks allow your dividends to compound tax-free until withdrawal. That means more of your money keeps working for you. Let's play this out. Say you can invest $30,000 a year into a dividend portfolio, averaging 6% returns. In 10 years, you could have about $400,000 to $500,000, paying you $20,000 to $30,000 annually. In 20 years, that could grow to 1.2 million to 1.5 million, paying you $60,000 to $75,000 annually. In 25 years, you'd likely clear the $80,000 mark in dividends alone. But if you can invest more, say $50,000 or $60,000 per year, you can cut that timeline almost in half. The faster you feed your portfolio, the faster it pays you back. A word of warning: the quickest way to lose years of progress is by chasing unsustainable dividends. Companies promising 10 to 12% yields often cut them during tough times. If your income stream gets slashed, you're back to square one. The smart move? Aim for balance. A healthy mix of solid dividend growers and reliable high-yield options will keep your plan intact even when markets get rocky. So what's the fastest way to live off dividends if you need $80,000 a year? It boils down to three things. Choose the right balance of yield and safety. Maximize how much you invest early on. Reinvest and compound until the income covers your lifestyle. Remember, it's not a dream, it's a math problem with a clear solution. Now I want to hear from you. Would you rather build a portfolio of high-yield stocks to reach $80,000 faster, or take the dividend growth path for more safety? Comment below. I'd love to hear your strategy. If you got value from this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more financial freedom tips, and I'll see you in the next one.